Hello, I'm Filthy Drawings. I'm an artist and game developer, and this is the first in a series of devlogs of one of my new games, Demon's Reign. I previously developed Dungeon Motive, a small dungeon crawler RPG, and I'm currently developing Demon's Reign, an RPG maker game heavily inspired by Demon's Souls, the early Souls titles, and another game. In this video, I'll talk a bit about this new game and introduce you to its development process, so hopefully you'll find this interesting. The game takes a lot of inspiration from both Demon's Souls and the first Dark Souls game, but that probably doesn't mean what you think it means. I wouldn't classify the game as a Souls-like, since when people talk about Souls-likes, the first things that come to mind are action combat with stamina management and dodge rolling, and that's not what this game is. Instead of focusing on those elements, Demon's Reign focuses more on the other, in my opinion, less appreciated main aspect of these games, the exploration and how combat ties into that. Let me explain. In the first three From Software Souls titles, a lot of the difficulty of the bosses doesn't come from execution, but from your lack of knowledge. So let's take one boss from two of these games as an example. Let's look at Demon's Souls. Phalanx, very first boss of the game, if you ignore the tutorial boss, is a giant blob surrounded by many smaller enemies, the hoplites. If you try to tackle the boss directly, not only doesn't take much damage, but it will also heal itself. If you try to be strategic instead, you can lure the hoplites far from the phalanx and take them out one by one, making it possible to beat the boss easily. Now, taking it one step further, if you have the knowledge that the hoplites are severely weak to fire, you can easily defeat the phalanx by applying turpentine to your weapon, quickly dispatching the hoplites and the boss itself. Or you can go beyond this and throw firebombs at the boss as soon as you pass through the fog gate, practically cheesing the boss with the intended game mechanics. Now, in Dark Souls 2, you have Mytha, the Baneful Queen, a boss that sits on a pool of poison that not only damages you constantly, but continuously heals her. If you try to fight her normally, the fight quickly turns into a nightmare. But if you take your time and explore the area, you will eventually come across a windmill that you can use your torch to burn. Doing this removes the poison from many places in the area, including her arena, making it way easier to defeat her. These are just two examples of many on how knowledge and exploration are the key elements of the difficulty, and that's what I want to focus on my game. The way these previous elements are implemented in Demon's Reign are the following. Past the tutorial, you have 6 regions, with 4 of them being accessible right from the start. You can explore all of these last 4 in any order, with the other 2 being unlocked as soon as you defeat your first boss. The cool thing about it is that if you're finding an area or boss to be particularly difficult, you can just go and explore another one. And maybe you'll either progress or find something that helps you clear the previous area more easily. You can find new weapons, armor, accessories, spells, and consumables, and build your character according to what you want thematically, or try to come up with the most overpowered build possible. It's all up to you. Now, you might be asking yourself, but how the combat works with all of these? Well, let me show you. The combat system is what people commonly call ATB, or Active Time Battle. It is a system where the player and enemies have an action bar that fills over time, and whenever this bar is filled, it's the owner's turn to act. That makes it possible to estimate the order of initiative, and adds to the player the decision of building either high attack and defense or high speed, to give them more action opportunity. This also opens the door for the player to either dodge or parry the enemy's attacks, or disrupt it with status effects. There is a variety of items and weapons you can collect, each with its advantages and disadvantages, so I want to encourage the player to find solutions to all combat encounters instead of simply brute forcing everything with raw power. So, now that you know the mechanics, I can briefly talk about the game's story. Demon's Reign takes place in a dark fantasy world where a great primeval dragon gave birth to demonkind. Soon after, a single god was born and split his soul to give origin to mankind and their close relatives. The demons and humans are stuck in a cycle of perpetual warfare, with the human side at a loss and their numbers dwindling day by day. The last hope of humanity is the channeling of magic, a dark ritual that involves infusing the user with the demon's essence. This power comes at a cost though, and may end up corrupting the host. You play the role of a lone warrior who was on a personal journey to fight against the demonic threat, but was defeated and fell in the process. Luckily, you, along with many other warriors with potential, are brought to the Nexus by the Elf Maiden, who guides you and aids you on your journey to defeat the archdemons, and hopefully bring order back to the world. Now that you have the full picture, I'll briefly talk about the game's scope and what I have planned for it. Currently I have 6 regions planned in total, with each region containing 4 areas with boss at the end of each, and a final boss, with possibly 3 different endings. You will also be able to choose between 8 different starting classes, each one with its own starting gear and stats, favoring a certain playstyle. They are not restricted and meant more as a starting point. This way you can build your character as you see fit, independently of the chosen class. There's a demo currently available on Steam and itch.io, which currently contains the tutorial and one of the initial areas. Although there are 8 classes planned, you can only pick between 4 of them, since I'm still implementing the other 4. If anything in this video piqued your interest, be sure to give it a try. I'm always working on improving the game, so feedback from players is always helpful. This was my first devlog video, so any critique is appreciated. I plan to do more of these in the future, talking about other parts of the development, such as spriting, art direction, and level design, so subscribe to be notified. I hope you found this to be interesting, informative, or enjoyable, and I'll see you in the next video. Be safe and have a good day.